Hi everyone and welcome to Movie Time. I'm your host, Deborah Lee, and today I have some very special guests with me in the studio. Film director Manny Chu and two of the stars of his latest film, Martin Baker and Arati Sherpa. Welcome everyone.
Thank you, Deborah.
Hi.
Hello.
So, tell me about this new film that you directed, Manny.
Well, it's called The Corner of Your Eye, and it's a documentary.
Another Manny Chu documentary? Fantastic! And I like the title, The Corner of Your Eye. Where did that come from?
Well, originally we called it Perspectives, because it looks at life in Hong Kong from many different perspectives. But that title just didn't sit well with me. I like this title more, because it makes you think about things that you glimpse from the corner of your eye, but don't really notice.
Yes, I see. That sounds intriguing.
Yes, and quite often, films are more likely to appeal to only one gender or only people of a certain age group. I wanted this film to do more than that. So by featuring people from all different backgrounds, what we've got is something with very broad appeal. Everyone can relate to this film, regardless of their age, race or gender.
Would there be any language issues, though?
Well, the film does feature multiple languages, but it'll have subtitles, so that should take care of any issues.
It won't just be English subtitles, though, will it, Manny?
No, we'll have Chinese subtitles too.
Great. So tell us more about the documentary, Manny.
Well, we adopted quite an innovative approach for this film. It's not the usual way of making a documentary. Most documentaries involve the director interviewing his or her subjects, but I wanted to do this differently. I can't tell you too much more about it because we're trying to keep the exact details under wraps until we find a distributor.
Are you hopeful that you'll find one soon?
Of course. We have a screening coming up, an exclusive showing for potential distributors on the 25th of May. The screening starts at 7 p.m, and I'm hoping to have secured a deal by 9 p.m. that night.
You sound pretty confident.
Of course. I'm sure the potential distributors will love the film. They'll be scrambling to sign the contract.
Okay, I can understand your need for secrecy, but you must be able to tell us a little about the film, like its themes and subjects.
Well, perhaps you could talk to Martin and Arati about that.
Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself, Martin?
Well, my name's Martin Baker, and I'm from Canada. Like quite a few expats in Hong Kong, I work as an English teacher. My chapter of the film deals a lot with the theme of culture shock. I experienced some pretty severe culture shock when I first arrived in Hong Kong. My hometown has only 7,000 people, so you can imagine that it took me a while to adjust to the pace of life here.
Right. And what about you, Arati? You're a teenager from Nepal, so you must have found it hard to adjust to life in Hong Kong as well.
Well, I am a Nepalese teen, but actually I was born here in Hong Kong.
Oh, I see. Are you the only Hong Kong native in the film?
No, there is another local teen called Teddy.
That's right. Teddy's story focuses on how he's struggling at school, with schoolwork, bullying, exam stress and so on. It's tough being a student in Hong Kong.
It's hard being a teacher, but I think the kids have it much tougher.
Can we switch the focus back to you now, Manny? I'd like to ask you about your history, how you got into the film industry.
Yes, of course. I didn't found my own company straight away. I started off as a freelance cameraman and then as an editor. I spent a good few years doing that.
I knew you'd been a cameraman, but I didn't know you'd worked as an editor as well.
Oh yes, it was very good training. And then in 2009, I founded my film company.
What was your first film? A Dirty Job?
Yes, my first film was called A Dirty Job, and it was released in 2010. It actually won an award that same year, the prize for Best Documentary, in the 2010 Hong Kong Film Awards.
Your first film won the prize for Best Documentary? That's great.
Yes, I was really surprised even to be nominated in the Hong Kong Film Awards, let alone win.
It's certainly a great achievement.
Yeah, we had some very positive comments from the critics for that film. One viewer who had watched A Dirty Job said that he was impressed that I'm not one to shy away from uncomfortable subjects. As you know, the film's about workers on an oil rig, and the film was released just after the Deepwater Horizon rig exploded in the Gulf of Mexico. So there was a lot of hostility towards the oil industry. A lot of people suggested that I not release the film, but I stuck to my guns.
Good on you, Manny.
I think that strength of spirit is very important if you want to be an independent filmmaker. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Many of my favorite indie films would never have been made if the directors had listened to their critics. One of them was Clerks, that's C-L-E-R-K-S, made in 1994.
I remember that film. Very funny. Quite crude, though.
Extremely. Can't recommend this film for children.
Definitely not. Anyway, as I was saying, it would never have seen the light of day if the director, Kevin Smith, hadn't been so stubborn. He had the last laugh, though. A film that cost less than $30,000 to make ended up being ridiculously popular. It made more than $3 million at the box office.
Yes, but what makes you say Kevin Smith was stubborn?
Well, he couldn't secure any external funding for his film. That's a problem for all independent filmmakers. It's very hard to get funding for your projects. Smith ended up funding his film himself by maxing out his credit cards, selling his comic book collection, and so on. You see the lengths he had to go to get his film made? He never gave up.
Right. I see what you mean. That's quite an inspiring story.
But that's just one of the many issues that independent filmmakers face. These days, it's getting harder for professionals to make a film that stands out from the crowd. As we all know, technology is getting cheaper and cheaper, which means that more and more people are starting to make films. Anyone with a digital camera and a laptop can call themselves a filmmaker.
Yes, that's true. Even my 12-year-old nephew has been making his own short films.
Exactly.
But as a viewer, it's all good news. It means that I now have a lot more choices of films. Anyway, I'd like to spend some more time now to talk to Martin and Arati. How did you guys feel when Manny first approached you?
That is the end of the listening component of this test. You will have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete the written tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. An announcement will be made when time is up.